Welcome to the lecture series in computer science. We are seeing a series of lectures in the subject Python programming. In today's session, we will be seeing a topic on event driven programming. As the contents of the session are, we will be seeing what is an event driven programming and why do we require an event driven programming, and then we will be seeing about the local and the global variables and what is its impact when it has been used in the canvas. Then we will be seeing about what are buttons and what is an input field, and we will be discussing about how to create a canvas and then how to add the entry box. As well, we will be seeing how to include a function and then how to add the buttons. We will conclude the session by creating a timer object, and we will as well see what is an impact in creating this timer object. Now let us go into the session by saying the event driven programming. What is an event driven programming? An event driven programming is a programming paradigm in which the flow of the program is determined by the events such as the user actions. What are the user actions? My dear viewers, now I am marking over here the mouse click, the key pressed, sensor outputs, or the messages from other programs or threads. What is a thread? You would have studied about thread in a subject called as operating system. Thread is a line of execution. Then getting into this event driven programming. This event driven programming is a dominant paradigm used in the GUIs. What is GUI, my dear viewers? It is graphical user interface. In short, it is called as GUI. So GUI, graphical user interface, and the application that are centered on performing certain actions in response to user input. So whatever the input, whatever the user gives an input, it should have some action and it should produce certain output. And that too, if it is going to produce it, if the output has been retrieved from a GUI, from a graphical user interface, then it will be very fine. So that is the specialty of event driven programming. Then in the event driven application, there is generally a main loop. My dear viewers, kindly make a note of it. There is generally a main loop that listens for events and then triggers a callback function when one of those events is detected. So my dear viewers, when you are going to see a program, when you are going to draft a program, at the last you will be seeing a word, a technical term called as main loop. So in order to have it in your memory, I am just repeating it. And in the embedded systems, the same may be achieved by using hardware interrupts instead of a constantly running main loop. The event driven programs can be written in any programming language. It is not mandated that you need to write it only in the Python programming language. It can be written in Java, it can be written in any other programming languages, but we are more concerned with the Python programming languages, and we are more concerned about how it is being written in this Python and what is its speciality. My dear viewers, in my earlier sessions, you would have seen that this Python programming is 3 to 5 times, the coding is 3 to 5 times smaller when compared to the Java programming. So we will see how this event driven programs are written in Python programming. Now before we could see about this event driven, let us see about the local variables and the global variables. What is the impact? If I am going to declare like this, what will happen? If I am going to declare like that, what will happen? What is a local variable? First of all, the local variables can be reached only with their scope, that is within their scope, that is the life of the variable will be available only within the function. Outside the scope of the function, the life of the variable will not be available as far as local variable is concerned. But in the case of global variable is concerned, the global variables are the one that are defined and declared outside a function. My dear viewers, as far as local variable is concerned, it is defined within the scope, within the function, whereas as far as global variable is concerned, it is defined outside the function and we need to use them inside a function too. So, we will see a sample program of how it works, how the local variable and the global variable works. So, this is an example for a local and a global variable. It is an online compiler. So, that is the reason the screen is like this. So, you have many different online compilers. So, in which this is a program wherein you have, I am declaring x comma y equal to 1 comma 2. What does it mean? X is assigned a value 1, y is assigned a value 2. Define sum of x comma y colon, press and enter, automatically it indents, that is the reason it is indented, and sum equal to x plus y, return sum. You print sum 5 comma 10 and print x comma y. What will happen? When I am going to print, when I am going to call this sum, which is locally declared, here this 5 and 10 will be taken over here as parameters and that will be computed. 5 plus 10 becomes 15. Whereas, when I am going to print x comma y, what will happen? 5 comma 10 will not get printed, 1 comma 2 will get printed because it is globally declared. X comma y equal to 1 comma 2 is globally declared. We will see the output over here. When I am going to execute, the output will be like this. In the first case it is 15 because 5 plus 10 becomes 15, whereas in the next case, as it is globally declared, when I am going to print the output, it becomes 1 comma 2. As it is an online compiler, the output screen is like this, it all varies based on the compiler to compiler. So, my dear viewers, I ask you to download a Python compiler and then use it. If you are going to use online compilers, the output screen, the console will be anywhere based on the online compilers work. Now, let us move on to the next topic. How buttons are created, how input fields are being added in Canvas. What is a Canvas? My dear viewers, you have studied it in a subject called Java programming. A Canvas, this is a screen. This is a Canvas screen. Hope you can see the screen, Canvas. Here in this Canvas screen, and I give a scenario for you. In my Canvas screen, I am just asking the user an input. I am asking the user to type in a value and I will be calculating the square root for that particular value and I will be displaying it to the user in the Canvas. My dear viewers, until the last screen or even until our previous sessions, we have seen about the basics of programming. With those basics of programming, from now on we are going to see about how it gets integrated to the Canvas, how it gets integrated to the graphical user interface. So, how it works, how do you do drag and drop, how do you do a drawing. So, likewise we will be seeing many different topics based on the recent needs. So, this is a Canvas. In the Canvas, my scenario is I ask the user to type in an input. When he is going to type in an input, when he is going to click, it should give the square root of that particular value. Now, so now let us see, this is my scenario. Now, let us see how it works. So, for this what we are supposed to do? First of all, we are supposed to create a Canvas. Then we are supposed to create an input field. Then we are supposed to enter the values. Then we are supposed to create a button. Then we are supposed to execute it. This is the flow. Now, let us see how to create a Canvas. Here we are going to create a Canvas. What is a Canvas? The canvas is the display. Is the display. It is where you display the items such as entry box. Entry box is used to enter the values. Buttons, charts, and whatever you wish. Anything and everything will get placed in the canvas. Now, okay, how do you want the canvas to be? Do you want the canvas to be pretty big, pretty small, medium size? What is the size of the canvas you wish to be, you wish to have? That all determines based on the width and the height values that you give, based on the width and the height values that you give. What does it mean? The width and height value gets changed based on altering the values. So, now my dear viewers, let us see how to create a canvas. Canvas 1, this is a label name. Canvas 1 is a label name equal to tk dot canvas. My dear viewers, what is this tk? You are supposed to, when you are going to work with canvas, you are supposed to import a module called as tkinter. You are supposed to import a module called as tkinter. So, what I have done in my full code is, I have imported a module by name import tkinter, and I have renamed it as tk as short. What does this tk denote? What is its name? tk is an alias name for tkinter. So, I have renamed it as tk. So, that tk I am calling over here. Canvas 1 equal to tk dot canvas is a keyword. Canvas open braces root comma width equal to 400, height equal to 300. I am keeping the width of the canvas is 400, the height of the canvas is 300. So, this becomes 400, this becomes 300. So, now it is my canvas. My dear viewers, as we have seen in the previous slides, you could have seen main loop root. So, this is the root comma width equal to 400, height equal to 300, canvas 1 dot pack for the package. Now, let us see. So, now we have created a canvas. Now, let us see how to add the entry box for entering the values. What is an entry box first of all? An entry box can be used to get the user's input. Okay. How is the position again? The position can be specified where the entry box should be placed on the canvas, because you cannot place it anywhere. You can place it anywhere, but it should be visible, it should be viewable, it should be like user friendly. It should be like it should have a pleasing effect. The canvas should have a pleasing effect. So, it all depends on how you are going to position the entry box. So, in the example that has been cited, what is the example, what is the scenario I given? I asked you to find a square root of a number. The position is set to 200 and 140. 200 comma 140, what does it mean? X comma y values, 200 comma 140. Now, let us see how to write the code. My dear viewers, these are all code snippets. What is a code snippet? Code snippet, what does it mean snippet? Snippet means part of the code, part of the code. So, it is not the full code. So, now let us see this part of the code of how to add the entry box. Entry 1 is a label, entry 1 equal to tk, tk is an alias name for tkinter dot entry of root. I am going to do anything and everything, I am going to do it in the root of root. Canvas 1 dot create window within braces 200, this is this 200, 140, this is just 140, comma window equal to entry 1. This is this entry 1. Clear? Entry 1 equal to tk dot entry of root, canvas 1 dot create window 200 comma 140 comma window equal to entry 1, right. So, now we have added the entry box. Now, let us write a function for finding the, for computing the square root of a number. So, my function name was to be get square root. This is my function name. Get square root function will be used to get the value that was typed in the entry box, whatever you type in, key in, and then use that value to derive the square root. The square root calculation will be captured as follows. Text equal to, I am giving it as float of x1 star star 0.5, because what is square root? It is, if I am going to give my input as 25, what is square root? 25 to the power of half. So, that is the square root, root of 25 is 5. So, if I am going to give it as float, how will my output will be? I will be getting my output as 5.0, 5.0. So, let us see the function, get square root function. Define get square root, open braces, close braces, colon. When I press and enter, what will happen? By default, it will get indented. X1 equal to entry 1 dot get label 1 equal to tk dot label root comma text equal to float of x1 star star 0.5. Canvas 1 dot create window, where do I want to create it? 200 comma 230 comma window equal to label 1. So, I have created this, I have included this function. So, and based on this input, based on the input, I am calculating the square root. Then let us see how to add a button. What is a button? For pressing it. The button can be used to execute the get square root function. Okay. Let us see how to create a button. Button 1 is a label equal to tk dot button. My dear viewers, here this button B should be in capital. Similarly, in the earlier slide, tk dot entry E should be in capital. So, similarly, in my earlier slide, tk dot canvas C should be in capital. So, now tk dot button text equal to get the square root, command equal to get square root. What is this get square root? It is the name of the function. Canvas 1 dot create window 200 comma 180 comma window equal to button 1. Button 1 is created, and in the created button you can see this get the square root, which was written over here, that was the text get the square root. So, you could see over here. So, this is the input field. Now, we have added a button. So, what is left out? It is left to the user. The user has to give the input. So, when he is going to give the input, when you are going to press get the square root, it will compute and the output will be displayed. Now, let us see the full code. This is the full code. Import tkinter as tk, root equal to tk dot tk, tk is the name of the function, canvas 1 equal to tk dot canvas, root comma width equal to 400, height equal to 300. This is what we saw in the earlier slide for creating a canvas. Canvas 1 dot pack, similarly for making the input entry, entry 1 equal to tk dot entry of root, canvas 1 dot create window 200 comma 140 comma window equal to entry 1. Entry 1 is the label for the input function. Define get square root x1 equal to entry 1 dot get label 1 equal to tk dot label root comma text equal to float of x1 in star star 0.5. What does it mean? When I am going to give the input, get the input, whatever the input I get, it gets computed and the result will get stored in the float data type in decimals. So, canvas 1 dot create window 200 230 window equal to label 1, button 1 equal to tk dot button within braces, text equal to get the square root, command equal to get square root. When I click it, what is the command that should get performed? It should call this function get square root. So, command equal to get square root. Canvas 1 dot create window 200 180 window button, then button 1. So, because this button 1 is given over here, then after completing this program, what did I say? You are supposed to connect it to the main loop, root dot main loop. If you are not going to have this, it will not work. Root dot main loop. So, when you are going to execute this program, render this program, what will be the output? This is the output that is rendered. I get a screen like this. TK, I give it as 25, click over here, then I get the output as 5.0. I get the output as 5.0. In order to show you the output, I have just given it in terms of arrow mark. This arrow mark will not be coming. So, this is an input. When I click the button, I get the output. So, my dear viewers, with this query, I suppose you can do an assignment of creating finding the area of a circle, finding the area of a triangle, or you can even create as many forms as possible, and then you can try to store it in a database. We will see how to store it in a database in the future sessions too. So, hope it is understandable. So, this is the basic idea wherein you as an assignment you can create as many programs as possible, right. This is the output screen which uses a module called as tkinter. If you are not going to have this tkinter, it is not going to work. So, you are supposed to import tkinter and I am naming it as tk. So, now getting into the next topic, timer. What is a timer? When do you use a timer? When I am going to say, hello Ganesh, welcome to Python world. So, hello Ganesh will be printed instantaneously, welcome to Python world will be printed after 5 seconds. There is a delay. So, to give a delay, when you are going to play games, at times you will be seeing it as loading. So, based on the loading, it takes few moments of time. That is a timer. So, now let us see what a timer is. Timer objects are used to create some actions which are bound by the time period. Using timer object, we create some threads that carries out some actions. In Python, the timer is a subclass of the thread class. My dear viewers, you are supposed to note this point, that timer is a subclass of the thread class. Using start method, timer is started. So, using start, timer is started. Timer objects are used to represent the actions that needs to be scheduled to run after a certain instant of time. These objects get scheduled to run on a separate thread that carries out the action. To run on a separate thread that carries out the action. The interval that a timer is initialized, which might not be the actual instant when the action was actually performed by the interpreter, because it is the responsibility of the thread scheduler to actually schedule the thread corresponding to the timer object. Timer is a subclass of thread class as defined in Python. So, what does it mean? You are supposed to import threading. That is why I am repeating it. I am just saying it as timer is a subclass, timer is a subclass of thread class. So you are going to import threading. It is started by calling the start function corresponding to the timer explicitly. Now let us see a scenario. Let us first we will see a syntax of how a timer has been created, and then we will see a scenario. Syntax is threading dot timer T capital, within braces it is an interval. For example, if I want to say, okay, I will just tell you, interval comma function comma args equal to none, kw args equal to none. So here in the interval, if I am going to say it as 5 seconds, then what will happen is it will be printing, hi Ganesh, welcome to Python world. This welcome to Python world, I want it to get printed only after 5 seconds. Even if this welcome to Python world is kept at the top of the coding, even if it is the first code and if hi Ganesh is the second code, this hi Ganesh should get printed first and then welcome to Python world should get printed at the last after a gap of 5 seconds. So now let us see how the program works. Here import threading, as I said, you are supposed to import threading because timer is a subclass of this thread class. So import threading, define my timer, it is the name of the function, colon, when you press and enter you get, it gets indented, print welcome to Python world. Now my timer equal to threading dot timer 5 comma my timer. This my timer is the name of the function, my timer. So my timer dot start, as I have said, timer will get started with the method called as start. My timer dot start, print hi Ganesh. Now when you render it, when you execute it, here in this case welcome to Python world was kept before this hi Ganesh, but in the output hi Ganesh will be printed, then after a delay of 5 seconds this welcome to Python world will get printed. So hi Ganesh, welcome to Python world will get printed, and that is the speciality, that is an example of this timer. Now let us summarize this session. We have seen about what is an event driven programming and why do we require an event driven programming, and then we saw about what is a local variable and what is a global variable, and we as well discussed about what is a button and the input field, and then we saw about how to create a canvas and how to add the entry box, how to include a function, how to add the buttons inside a canvas, and then we concluded the session by saying how to create a timer object and what is the impact of creating or what is the impact of having a timer object. Thank you.